How many times have you wondered in your life, why am I here? What's my purpose? It seems to me that that's an almost constant quest for most people, including myself. I'd love to say that it's not an issue for me, but I've been so blessed in my life because I always knew I wanted to be a physical therapist. And so I became a physical therapist, and I was just doing my very best at every aspect of the physical therapy that I could do. And I ended up in occupational health and ergonomics, not because I planned it. It just seemed to unfold that way. And I was busy doing the very best I could at that job. And then I was doing a lot of training, and somebody saw me speak. They invited me to speak at a conference, my first conference, and they had an MC. And at the end of it, he said to me, "You should be a speaker." And I said, "What's a speaker?" I'd never heard of it. He was American and was living in Australia. And so then my speaking career started, and I realized that it was an actual calling for me. I was built to be a teacher, if you like, and to share a message. And I was driven in the early stages to keeping people well. I started off in wellness because I was so passionate about people not having to be in pain and not having to be sick, and that they just had to do a few simple things and they would feel way, way better. And then I remember one day Ron, who mentored me, he said, "Stop being a missionary." And I said, "I'm not being a missionary. What do you mean missionary?" And he was right. It took me a couple of years to realize, but I did realize that I was shoving my thoughts down people's throats, thinking that it was going to help them because I was such a helper at heart and wanted to fix people. So I tell you that story because I have discovered along the way that building a purpose-driven career starts with yourself, because we're all searching for purpose and we think our job's going to do it or what we do will do it. But the truth is, none of that will help you unveil your purpose, because your purpose is about presence and being. And that's a really deep concept that I'm only just coming to terms with myself about. How do we just be? How do we know ourselves well enough? How do we remember who we really are and then be that person and shine the light that we are on everyone else? And then it doesn't matter what you do, because you are pouring all of you into this experience, whatever it is, whether it's with your family or at work or in the community. It doesn't matter, because you become your purpose. You rediscovering yourself and learning how to be is the purpose of living and of being on earth, I reckon. But I have a wonderful mentor and a great friend, David Martin, who once said to me this fabulous phrase where he would check himself, and before he behaved somewhere or he noticed what he was doing in a situation, he would say, "Am I being the person I want to be in this moment? Am I being the person I want to be in this moment?" And if you stop and think about that phrase, it's actually really profound. And I'm so grateful he said it to me, because if you use that as a filter for everything you do, once you work out the sort of person that you want to be, then you've got what do you call that thing? A rudder. You've got a rudder on your sailing boat, and you can steer it in the direction that you want to go. And one of the things that I found really kind of challenging as well is working out, what do I want to be, and who am I really? And when I speak about joy, I put the letters JOY down in a line, and I say they stand for just one you. You are astonishing. You are unique. There is no one else on the planet that is like you, that's had your upbringing, your background, your beliefs, your patterns, your whatever it might be. There is no one else like you. And yet you have a precious and very specific gift for the world. And by you being the very best you that you can be, you can deliver that gift no matter where you go. And for me, some of you will scoff at this and you go, oh, that's a nothing. I want to be saving the world, or, climbing every peak on the planet and doing good things for others. And they're all wonderful purposes to have, and they may be yours. For the most part, most people, the average human, doesn't have such enormous aspirations. But what if our purpose in life was to be kind? Just kind to everyone. And we were being, note the word being, not doing, being kind. And what if we were to see our purpose as uplifting others? Well, we've got to uplift ourselves first, and we have to have faith and belief in ourselves first. But if we saw our role as uplifting others, imagine what good we would be doing in the world. What if we saw ourselves and believed ourselves to be compassionate, and we walked around being kind and compassionate? And it doesn't mean you let people walk all over you and you set boundaries and you still, lead a productive life. But what if kindness was a primary theme for you? So working out who you are, this is a short YouTube video, right? I can't get into the 47 tome, who are you really and what are you here for? But we can start to think about these things and we can start to explore them a little. And I took a few notes, so I just want to check my notes to make sure I don't leave anything out. Because that being your best self, whatever that is for you, is really the purpose that we have. Like, nobody wakes up in the morning and goes, I just want to be a grumpy old fart today. Nobody does that. They just wake up and they are that. And they don't have any sort of self-awareness. But your purpose could be self-awareness, constant self-awareness and consciousness, and being conscious of how you're behaving and the impact of being conscious of the impact you have on people around you. Do people feel good about themselves when they're around you? Because that would be a spectacular purpose in life. Excuse me. Apart from, number one, being your best self. Well, actually, no. Number one would be knowing who you really are. 2, being your best self. 3, being someone who's kind and compassionate and has a goal of helping people feel good about themselves. Now I hadn't thought about this before, but now I'm talking with you about it. I think that's one of the things that I noticed really early on when I was studying neurolinguistics with Michael and John Grinder. Well, I remember being in this group and I kept, how you think people are like following you or wandering around, and I kept going like this, and I thought I must be going mad. And then I found out a couple of days later that Michael had told people to walk around and model me because he'd never seen anybody who was so capable of building rapport with others instantly. And for years I pondered on that, and I'm sure it's because of my childhood. And to be safe, I learned how to be an expert at creating rapport. But one of the great gifts out of that is that when you build rapport with people, they feel safe with you and they share things with you. People are always telling me their life stories, and that is such an honor. And so I realized as I'm shooting this video, one of my purposes in life is to create a safe place in which people can be feeling good about themselves and feel safe enough to share vulnerably. So why don't you have a discussion like this with your teenage children or your grown-up children, or even little children? Start dropping in the words purpose and being your best self and being, not just doing. And even if you just stuck with being kind, that would make a difference. So it was kind of all over the place, but that's a bit what I'm like. And if you found that useful, let me know and see if you can work out who you really are, what really matters to you, who you really want to be, and keep asking yourself the question, am I being the person I want to be in this moment? Which, of course, leaves me with the very last thing. You have to work out the person that you want to be. And that is your purpose. Ta-da! Thanks for watching. Bye.